this one's going to be a bit more tough. So me, growing up as a second-generation Chinese American, my story is probably similar and relatable to a lot of other sons and daughters of immigrants. So being the son of an immigrant, my parents being immigrants from China, they wanted to preserve their culture when they had their children in America, their American-born children. So a large part of that culture is being the language. They want to preserve that. And this is similar to a lot of other immigrants that came to America, be it Chinese, Japanese, Italian, Mexican, what have you. They want to preserve the culture, the food, maybe the clothing. Language is a big part of it. And the children the American-born children are Americanized and resistant to this to various extents. Some are very open to accepting dual culturalism, while others want to be fully integrated, fully Americanized into the U.S. So me personally, I was never very resistant towards having both cultures, both American culture and Chinese culture. For instance, I took up Kung Fu for 7 years in my childhood. Even though my parents forced me to start it, I stuck with it for 7 years, up until my senior year of high school. The part that I was never very good at, though, was the language, which is a big part of culture. I was just never a very gifted language learner. The language never really stuck with me, which is part of the reason why, even to this day, more than 10 years later, I am very grateful for having my favorite Chinese teacher, Mr. Pao, taught me in 6th grade, teach me. He taught me a lot. So back to immigrant parents. So my parents were, like many parents, they really want to enforce passing on the language, the mother tongue, to their kids, being Cantonese, which is a form of Chinese. So I remember when I was 13, I was in my room doing my physical science homework, and up until that point, and even now, I was never good at Chinese. Things just never stuck. And my mom, she walked in, she said something to the likes of, "I need your help for a second, so stop playing." And the way she said it and the way she thought that, she automatically assumed that I was playing, it irked me. So I tried to use my Cantonese to refute what she said, saying, I'm not playing, I'm doing my homework. And me not being very good with my words, especially not in Cantonese, even with English, sometimes it's a struggle. Like this video, I have bullet points listed out before I started. So not very good with my words, especially not in Cantonese. I wasn't able to get my point across. I was doing my homework, I wasn't playing. And me and my mom, we had an exchange and it got heated. Eventually I threw a tantrum. My mom wasn't very happy about this. Me and my mom, we had a language barrier. And what my mom did was, she said I needed to be punished. She gave me a very traditional Chinese punishment. She had me go outside to the living room, and outside the living room, where in my childhood home, there are portraits of my ancestors, my great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, something like my ancestors. She had me kneel in front of those portraits to ask for their forgiveness. And while I was kneeling there, I was stewing on the injustice of it all. I felt, besides the part where I threw a tantrum, being a impulsive teenager, I had been wronged. I was stewing on this for however many hours I had to kneel there. I don't remember now. It was quite a few, I think. Probably less than the kids in China, though, but I felt that there was an injustice there, and that was just one of many instances where I felt I was wronged because of this language barrier. And me and my mother, there's a saying, how'd it go? the more you understand, the less you forgive. And me right now, as a young man of 24, I still feel I'm too immature to speak on this on a personal level. So I will say that the older I've gotten, the more I've understood. And the more that initial anger that I felt when I felt I've been wronged, that initial anger of that injustice I felt was done on me on several occasions, that has turned to a coolness. And I still love my mother. I love her in the verbal sense. I love her as a son has a responsibility for his mother. I love her as a sense of duty. But that relationship is changing as I grow older and grow into my manhood. And just like how you never forget how to walk, you don't forget those childhood memories. The thing that changes as you get older, though, is that the older you get, the less of the spectator you are of those childhood memories. You had childhood memories as being an object. You become less of the spectator, you become less of a child. Slowly, gradually, you become the adult in those memories. Put it figuratively, the ball is put into your court, your side of the court. You begin shaping those childhood memories. You begin shaping the childhood memories of the next generation. You are in the driver's seat creating the memories that the next generation will have. So the question then becomes, how do you want to be remembered?